Hey everybody, you got the Hobby Drifter here again. Taking a break from nerd stuff for just a bit. Today, as I'm filming this, is March 11th, 2020, which makes it the 9th anniversary of the Great Japan earthquake and tsunami and nuclear disaster. Yeah, it's been 9 years since then, and I just wanted to get my thoughts about it out on video while I can. We're of course now in March of 2020, we're looking at the increasing spread of COVID-19, the coronavirus, which is just messing up a lot of stuff here in Japan. They're saying that the loss of life has not been terrible yet, but who knows what to believe at this time. So I'm gonna tell just my experience from the great earthquake, and in order to tell you this full story, I'm going to have to tell you a much lighter story. In late 2010, not even late 2010, summer of 2010, I moved from Kyushu, a little town called Izuka, to Hiroshima City. I was living near the Kusatsu Minami rail station, rail stop, in Hiroshima City. It was like a 15-20 minute ride to the city center, which is all the restaurants and the nightlife and the atomic bomb dome and Peace Park and all that stuff. So yeah, huge difference from the small towns I'd been in before to this bigger place. So I moved there, and it was completely new. I didn't have any friends there. I didn't have any coworkers it was a completely new set of people, new place, new whatever. And as was my way at the time, I've made it a point to find a place where I could hang out and drink after work. And I came across a place that advertised Hiroshima-style tsukemen, which is a hot noodle. It's a cold dish, but it's very, very spicy if you want it that way. And shochu, which is my favorite Japanese spirit. Imo shochu, sweet potato shochu. Great stuff. Great fun to drink. Alcohol is about 25%, so you can mix it in cocktails or drink it straight. And it's one of those things that a lot of older Japanese people don't think that foreigners can enjoy. So whenever I would always ingratiate myself to the local bar flies by coming in and ordering a imo shochu on the rocks. So I found this place. So I love this tsukemen stuff. Been a fan of this for years. My favorite kind of alcohol. Perfect. It's about a 5-minute walk from my apartment. Went in, fairly small place, a couple of tables and a counter. Dude comes up to me and is like, "Hey, what can I get you?" Let me get spicy tsukemen and a glass of sweet potato shochu. Oh wow, you can, yeah, cool. He asked me, how hot do I want the stuff? Saying that they can go as low as 0 or as high as 300. And 300 is just unthinkably hot. 300 is like capsaicin extract. You can't. It's unthinkable. But at the time, I never had tried that before. But I got level 50. It was level 50, and there's a guy saying it's really, really hot, and I'm like, yeah, no, let me try it. So brings it out, and this guy who's been drinking since I got in there, he's looks like he's happy drunk. He's feels like chatting type drunk. And he's like, hey, what's your name? Where are you from? How you doing? And he looks at, he's like, what level of spice is that? And I was like, oh, it's level 50. And he's like, oh my God, would you mind if I tried some of that? Cool, sure. Grabs a pair of chopsticks, has a bite of it. And he's just like, oh my God, this is so hot. This is incredibly hot. This is so painful. This is so unbelievably, I've never felt anything this painful before in my life. I was like, oh, come on, man. It's not that bad. Wrong thing to say to this guy. Wrong thing to say to this guy. He's like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. And he pulls up his sleeve, and he's just got like the full-on, beautiful, brightly colored tattoo. He's like, I got this tattoo over my entire body. And I'm like, okay. And he holds up both of his hands, and he's missing the top digit of the pinky on both hands. And he's like, I cut off both of my own pinkies. That was not so painful. This this noodle thing is the worst pain in my life. And suddenly nothing is funny anymore. I'm like, and he kind of takes a step back. He goes, he's like, oh, I am Japanese mafia. And I'm like, yeah, I got that. And he's like, not now, not now, but yeah, I'm Japanese mafia. And I'm like, yeah, and I've noticed he's not using the Y word, but I'm like, yeah, no, I got that. And he's like, you didn't know? He's like, dude, this is Japanese mafia bar. And he's like, I am, my wife is, the bartender's assistant is. He's young, he's just kind of starting out, and he's just like, I'm just starting out. And he's like, yeah, we know. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I like this place. Can I drink here? And he goes, yeah, no, anyone's fine. It's just, we're all, mafia. Like, okay. So I'm young at the time. I'm in my 20s. I'm stupid. I think, oh, this is kind of cool. Ha ha ha. A bunch of retired gangsters, and one guy who's apparently not retired, are running this bar, and they let me go, and it's stupid. I'm dumb for it. But good food, great conversation. One time, the guy actually invited me out for sushi. He's like, hey, do you like sushi? I said, yeah, I love sushi. He goes, well, why don't you meet me up here, tomorrow afternoon. We'll go out for sushi. I said, oh, okay, cool. So I go up there the next afternoon, thinking there's no way this guy's actually going to be there. And he's like, hey, come on over. Yeah, no, we're just having a drink over here. My wife's going to be by with the car in a few minutes. Gets a message on his phone. Oh, my wife's here. Go outside, and it's like out of a cartoon. It's just like this gorgeous black imported car. I think it was a Mercedes. Might be wrong. But all black, tinted windows. And he goes, hey, yeah, get in the car. We're gonna go to get sushi. And part of my brain is just like, don't do this. Don't do this. Why would you do this? This is dumb. But the other part of my brain is like, well, you're kind of screwed. You've got to go along with this. So he opens the door for me, which I thought, oh, wow, dude's opening the door for me. And inside this car, I want you to just take a quick second and try to guess what is inside this car. Like what the inside of a Yakuza beautiful black car looks like. Okay? You got it in your head? You got your idea? Okay, I'm going to tell you, this entire car, everything, the seat covers, the steering wheel covers, the ornaments, everything in this car, Hello Kitty. No joke, completely serious, hand to God, everything is Hello Kitty in this car. And there's his wife who looks to be, I don't know, significantly younger than him. Beautiful lady, very cute. And she's like, oh, hi. And so he's like, oh yeah, Sensei, this is my wife. She likes Hello Kitty. Like, okay, I see that. And then he gets another message on his phone. And he goes, oh, actually, change of plans. We're gonna just go back in the bar. And I'm like, oh, we're gonna eat at the bar. He goes, no, we're gonna eat sushi. It's just the guy called. He's gonna bring us the sushi. So we went back in, and they brought us this beautiful sushi plate, and we all ate. And he told me stories from his glory days. His story that I remember that I thought was very fun and mostly harmless, I guess, was that he used to illegally import porno movies from the U.S. and England, and make copies of them. Like, you would get the physical tapes and then make copies of these things to sell, because Japanese porno is censored. And then he just goes, yeah, but after a couple of years of doing this, we figured out, oh, we could just make our own movies and just do it that way. And he's like, man, that was fun. That was a good thing to learn. And it was like, that's funny. That's ha ha ha. Okay, so I told you the funny story, so I can get to this story. March 11th, 2011. I was at work. We were finishing up for the year before the spring break started. It was the second to last week of classes and graduation ceremonies. And I just finished my last class of the week, came back to the teacher's room to collect my stuff. Everyone's watching the TV in the teacher's room. And I looked up, and it's an earthquake. There are earthquakes in Japan literally every day. Some small, some larger. Japanese buildings are, for the most part, built to withstand earthquakes, unless there's just a massive one. Obviously, in an earthquake-prone country, people are going to build their stuff to not fall over in a minor earthquake. So I'm like, oh, earthquake, cool, whatever. That sucks. Hope everyone's okay. Grabbed my stuff, otsukare-sama'd myself out of the place, and got on the train. And I looked at my Facebook on my newly purchased smartphone, and because this is at the start of everyone has a smartphone era, and I looked, and the first thing I saw was a post from Guns N' Roses saying, we're sending our thoughts and prayers. I don't think they use the term thoughts and prayers. But they, our thoughts are with all our fans in Japan. Stay safe, everybody. And I'm like, oh, maybe this is a bigger earthquake than I was expecting. So I flipped over to the Japanese news, and the English Japanese news on my phone, and like, yeah, big earthquake, magnitude 8.8, and only like a depth of 10 meters, and I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know what any of that means, but it's big. But there were no reports of death, and there were no reports of there's like a few people are missing. No one confirmed dead yet. And I'm like, oh, okay, so it's big, it's shaky, but okay, so far so good. I get home and turn on the news, and yeah, just we're starting to see people have uploaded camera phone videos of the wave like coming up on shore and just like wiping everything out, and like, oh wow, this is bad. Then we got the news about the tsunami, and a little bit later the word about the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear reactor. And anyway, there were talks of like evacuations and things like that. I had no idea. I was single. I was living by myself in Hiroshima. I didn't really know anybody to talk to about this. There wasn't really much to do, but my area was pretty close to like a seawall, like a few blocks away. There was this like, there's the ocean, or the sea, and it was being held back by this giant 20-30 foot high wall. And I'm like, oh well, if the tsunami comes over that, we're just screwed. But I was like, okay, well, maybe I should hop on a train or something, get the hell out of here. But as I heard the trains had stopped running. Not sure if they were stopped running in my area. I just kind of made that assumption. And I should point out, I was drinking from like the time I walked in the door. I had a big alcohol thing going at the time. So I mean, I was just, what the hell is going on? So I waited until about 7:30 at night, so I could call my parents back in the U.S. before they saw it on the news. I called them. It was 5:30 in the morning. Like, hey, what's up? Like, hey, did you guys hear the news? Yeah, did you guys turn on the news yet? Like, no, we just got up. Why? I was like, okay, you're gonna turn on the news, and you're gonna freak out, but I'm fine. My girlfriend is fine. Her family is fine. Everyone that I personally know here in Japan is fine. So when you turn on the news and you hear what's going on, don't freak out. And so they turn on the news. It's like, oh my God, what the hell? No. I'm lying right now. I'm just like, no, I'm fine. I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm fine. This could go anytime. I'm like, yeah, so don't worry about it. We're fine. Everything's fine. I did suspect that Kyushu would be fine because it's nowhere near anything. But yeah, I'm just like, okay, well, nice talking to you. Take care. They say, oh, you stay safe, and I did. So I'm drinking heavily. I'm watching the news, and they've just got an endless stream of like destruction videos that they're playing, and I'm just losing my mind. And I'm getting more and more toast. I think I was probably drinking scotch at the time. Probably had like a bottle of Teachers or Cutty Sark, or it wasn't Yamazaki. It wasn't anything good. I was like, you know what? If this is the end, I'm gonna go not just by myself in my apartment. I'm gonna go see if the noodle bar is open. So, go down to the noodle bar, and there's like 5 people there. My dude with the black car is there, bartender's there, and I'm just like, Jesus, are we gonna be okay? And they're like, yeah, we don't know. We just figured, there's really no way to get out of here, so we're gonna, just be here. I'm like, don't you have a car, man? Can't you just like drive out of here? And he's like, yeah, nah. So, all right, who am I to question? And then I'm just like, you know what? I have Yakuza questions. Like, so they're all drunk. I'm drunk. We're all just thinking the world's gonna end in a couple hours. And I was like, they're like, you know what? Shoot. What do you got? And I was like, well, first off, the tattoos. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, nice. They're really nice. Like, oh, thank you. Like, are they expensive? Like, just is that covered? Is that like part of the job? You get you don't get like dental or insurance or anything. He's like, no, sometimes we do. Like, but I mean, do they pay for the tattoos? And he's like, the guy's like, no, I had to pay for my own tattoo. It took about 3 years to get finished, and it cost. Again, drunk. I'm just remembering this. Not drunk now. I was drunk then. And I'm just remembering. I want to say it cost him like $50,000 to $100,000 for his tattoo back in like the 70s, which whew, that's a lot of money. Beautiful though, absolutely beautiful. Very bright greens, oranges. He had like the Buddha on his back. He showed me the whole thing, guys. He showed me the whole thing. And then the bartender was like, yeah, no, I wished I didn't do mine. And he showed me his, and his was like the zebra pattern. Like it was just like iron bars, like on his like horizontal bars, that covered most of his body except for like the opening for like a V-neck shirt. And I was like, yeah, no, I really regret mine. I mean, I paid a ton of money for it, and anytime I go like jet skiing or anything, I have to wear a full body suit now. And he's like, I love jet skiing, and now I can't do it without having to wear this junk. I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Cool. And then I was like, so, like, you guys are gonna do something about this, right? I mean, like, your friends or whatever, you're gonna go and do something to help, right? That area. And I was like, oh yeah. No, we're definitely gonna have people up there. And like, oh, that's good. Again, wasted. I'm like, hey, anything I can do to help? And it was like, no, wait, can you drive a truck? Like, dude, I can't drive a scooter. Like, oh, okay. Well, then your best bet's probably just to like donate money to like the Red Cross. Like, oh, that's all right. That's very nice of you to say that. It's like, yeah, no, the Red Cross does good work. But yeah, we'll be up there with like diapers and food and paper towels and stuff. And like, oh, that's good. Um, Drank there until about 4 in the morning until we realized okay, it's probably gonna be fine. And I never went back there. It's like okay, yeah, I'm gonna just I'm gonna not press my luck anymore. And never went back. I ran into the bartender's assistant at the mall a few months later, and right around then was when Japan was starting to crack down on crime groups. So I mean, my girlfriend was like, "Yeah, no, even if you wanted to, don't go back there. You could get in trouble." So I never went back there. The guy said he understood, but yeah. So this right here is the newspaper from March 12th, 2011, and I don't know, I'm kind of a morbid guy. I've got a bunch of stuff like this. I've got one from when I lived in Chicago for 9/11. So I thought, wow, this is a history making thing. I should get one of these to collect. But yeah, said the giant earthquake at 10 meters. The death toll is over 100 people. It says here, the death toll is now estimated at between 200 and 300 people. And it was the biggest earthquake since 1923. Yeah, there's a shot of the water coming up to, I've never actually looked through this. Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, Mucha Kuchada, 855 mon. Oh, yeah, that's, right. So, yeah, it's not all, there's sports and stuff in here. But yeah, to give you some idea, it says here, 200 to 300 people. So, again, I'm thinking, oh my God, this huge disaster. 200 to 300 people. That's awful. That's just the worst thing imaginable. And then over the next couple of days, we learned that the death toll was not 200 or 300 people. We learned that it was over 1,000 people. It was over 5,000 people. It's 10,000 people. The nuclear reactor that there are fail safes in place to make sure that nothing was like in meltdown, and had to evacuate the area around there. So people had lost their homes and lost their lives in this tsunami. They lost their home. They lost everything in having to be relocated from Fukushima in Tohoku, and just every day was more and more bad news. The one that really got to me, because I was an elementary school teacher at the time, was I heard that an elementary school had been hit, and it just like wiped out like almost everyone at this school, teachers, kids, like just like the whole thing just gone. And I remember I was talking to one of my family members who is religious. I've been religious. I've been super anti-religious, and at the time I was kind of working towards like a live and let live type thing. I mean, it's not for me, but a lot of people like it. And so I'm hearing about this school, this entire elementary school with young kids just wiped out. And this person says, well, it could have been worse. God must have been looking out for the people who got away. And I just remember saying, and I regret saying it now, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I was like, if you're right and I'm wrong, and there is a God, please tell him for me to go fuck himself. And that was the end of my, like, even considering religion as like any kind of thing, because like if I'm wrong, and he was just like, no, this is fine. No, that's nope. So it's easier for me to just not believe than it would be to believe that. Um, so of course, the recovery was happening. It started right away. They've done now in 9 years. They've gotten a lot of it back to where there's some semblance of normal. But yeah, it was bad, guys. I mean, I don't really know how else to say it. Most of the rest of 2011 was just a complete blur to me. I don't remember. I don't remember going to work. I never missed work. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember going to work. I don't remember where I went. I don't remember any of the people I hung out with uh, until the time I left Hiroshima in a year later. I stayed in Hiroshima for one more year, and yeah, I basically don't remember anything about what, and I'm sure a lot of that was the booze, but I did quit drinking for a good chunk of that though, but yeah, it was. I mean, that first week was just unbelievable. I had so many people from back in the U.S. Calling and asking if I was okay. I was, but I mean, obviously, I was in Hiroshima. Nothing bad happened there. But yeah, I had a lot of people who cared. A lot of people. I asked them to donate money to like the Red Cross to help, and then they did. And they're very appreciative of that. About the summer after this disaster, I went home to visit my family, and on the way back, I'm at the airport, and they have canceled my flight. There's engine trouble or like mechanical trouble, and they canceled the flight, and with like no notice. So I mean, everyone who was going to be on this flight back to Tokyo was stranded in Chicago, and they didn't bring in anyone who could speak Japanese to the mostly Japanese passengers on this thing. And one of the people who I was waiting in line with, I just looked over at him. I was there with my father, but I looked over at this guy, and I said in Japanese, Michael, this is a pain in the ass, isn't it? And he's like, he's like, oh my God, can you speak Japanese? And I was like, I mean, not great, but I mean, a little bit, yeah. And he's like, can you tell me what's going on? Like, I don't speak English. It's like, I'm here visiting my family. I have no idea what any of this is. And I'm trying to kind of, as best to the best of my ability, translate for this guy what's happening. And he's like, yeah, no, my family is from Fukushima, or from Tohoku. I can't remember if it was Tohoku or Fukushima, and they were like relocated to Chicago for a while their stuff was getting sorted. And I'm just going back and forth with this guy in Japanese, and this is one of my happier memories, because the United, I think it was United Airlines, possibly American Airlines. I think United. staff is just kind of looking at me like, whoa, this guy's speaking Japanese, like what the hell? And which, I mean, it's Chicago. I mean, everyone speaks like a bunch of languages in Chicago. I don't know why that was a big thing, but my dad looks at this woman and just goes, 8 years of Spanish, boy can't say 2 words, but I guess he speaks Japanese now. It's like, and he didn't say it like, yeah, he said it, kind of like, yeah, my kid can speak Japanese, but I was just like, wow, that was nice. That was like the time I got my father's approval for that. So yeah, I don't really know what the point of this 30-minute ramble was. I just wanted to just kind of get my thoughts out on the 9th anniversary of what was without question the worst time in my life. The news was showing high definition footage of this disaster for weeks and months on end. You couldn't get away from it. It was everywhere. There were reports of just people who were developing like PTSD symptoms just from like looking at the news. I was probably one of them. It was, yeah, I mean, and I say the worst time of my life, despite the fact that, I was in America for 9/11. And here's what makes this harder than 9/11. 9/11, you had somebody to blame. I mean, you of course you felt sad about the loss of life. You felt sad and upset. That there were people in this world that have no compunction about hurting innocent people. Maybe after you were, you had dealt with the sadness of the loss of life and the loss of so many people were hurt and maimed, but then you could have space in your heart to feel bad about the skyline is not what it used to be. Just looking at the skyline makes me remember this, and it makes me sad. But you had someone to blame. So it wasn't just sadness and grief and despair. It was anger. Like, someone did this. People did this. And anger can make the pain go away for a while. Anger doesn't hurt as much if you do it in a certain way. Anger feels good. So I mean, overriding your sense of just despair and sadness at how the tragedy of 9/11, overriding that is just anger. Someone did this. We're gonna get that person. We're gonna make them pay. People will pay for what they did. We will get revenge, and that revenge will make us feel better because there's a justice to be had. We will catch these people. We will kill them. We will bring them to justice, and at the end of it, we'll feel better. Somehow there is some way that we can feel better. And that's not true. Optimus Prime said it in an old Transformers episode. If there's a tragedy, if there's a chance to do good, don't waste it. Don't waste your energy on something as useless as revenge. Revenge is not justice. Revenge doesn't make the pain go away. It just numbs it before you get a new thing. But for the earthquake and tsunami, there's no one to blame. I mean, if you're religious, you can blame God, but I mean, I highly doubt that that's going to make you feel any better. To blame your God for 20,000 deaths and hundreds of thousands of millions left homeless, displaced. There, there's nothing. There's no justice to be had. There's nowhere for that pain to go. It just sits there, and that's all you have. People turned their anger on TEPCO for the Fukushima Daiichi reactor, and maybe they. I mean, they definitely could have taken other steps to prepare for this, but I mean, in the grander scheme of things, it wasn't the fault of people or anything. It was just this terrible thing that just happened. It was, 1 minute everything's fine. The next minute the whole world shakes and crashes, and the next thing tens of thousands of people are dead. And there's nothing you can do about it. And there's no way to make that hurt less. There's no cheating it. I donated a bunch of money to different charities after the thing, just to kind of feel like I was doing something. They opened a Krispy Kreme in Fukuoka. So it was the first one they opened. My girlfriend at the time, she's now my wife, she loved Krispy Kreme when she was living in America, and she was very excited that she could now get it in Fukuoka. She was living in Fukuoka. So I hopped on a bus for 4 hours, stood in line, got a couple of boxes of Krispy Kreme, surprised her at her door, which was a thing we did. It wasn't like unheard of for one of us to surprise the other. But she's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Oh, hi. I brought you Krispy Kreme." And she's like, "Oh, wow, thank you. What's the occasion?" And and this was, it must have been less than a week after this. It was probably less than a week. I think she had work that day, so it must have been after work, weekday. Probably, 4 or 5 days after. When we first started getting the reports of like the tens of thousands of people dead in the school, and she's like, "What's the occasion?" And I said, I wanted to see somebody smile today, and it wasn't going to be me. And that was when I lost it. After that, it was just like, that's when it became like real. And then so I went back to Hiroshima after that for another year, and I don't remember almost any of it. Then I came back to Fukuoka and got married, and the world recovered. I recovered. Everyone recovered. I mean, there's obviously still work to be done, and people are still suffering from this. But I mean, the world moved on, and now we're at the coronavirus thing, and it's feeling kind of similar. Where at the beginning, at the start of it, there was it's just a little thing, and then it's pretty bad, and now we're at the point where there's a whole lot of people who've been infected. We don't really know how many people it has killed or how many people it has sickened, and we're right in the middle where we don't know really anything. And I just have this sinking feeling that maybe years from now I'll be doing another video on this, just trying to get my thoughts out on the next big tragedy. So I have been the Hobby Drifter. This has been my 39-minute decompression on the 9th anniversary of the terrible earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear disaster that befell northern Japan in 2011. Thanks for sticking around with me for this, and I will be back with happier musings in the future. Thank you very much. Take care, and happy hobbying.